Josh here, and this is my review of Siren Blood Curse, episodes 5 to 8, and I realize this may be a little redundant, but seeing as I don't have a whole lot else to review at the moment, and I don't have time to really do much else, I guess this is going to have to do. So, getting on the story, I won't go over the gameplay mechanics really much more than that, because I felt I did it more than enough in the first part. If you're watching this before the first part, let it be known that I will be giving spoilers in this section, and I want to warn people of that, because again, I'm a very ardent trying to avoid spoilers in most things, but in this case, it is kind of inevitable, seeing as I want to discuss the story, the progression of it, mostly at least. On that note, I really like the story in this game. I really love cyclical plots. It's just starting to introduce one that ends on a really creepy, really cool note. Particularly, I love how Howard White's just fucking shot, and the ex-husband just turns into one of those weird spider Shibito, and holy shit, that was just freaky. I know I've seen it in other movies before that they've done that kind of thing, don't get me wrong, it's not really unique, but at the same time, you don't see it that often, and it being in a game is particularly cool, because you do feel an added connection to the characters in a game, I think. Even one as bereft of characterization as Siren Blood Curse. Also, a really cool twist when you take control of the daughter, and at the end you reveal that she was actually Shibito, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense logistically. I mean, considering that, when was she turned? If you were controlling her and you got right up to the church, did they kill her right outside the church, or get her right outside the church? I realize that it takes some time for the infection to manifest itself, but there's usually some more transition than that. I mean, and if Shibito were still chasing her in her stage, which seemed really odd to me, but okay, whatever. Main thing though, Japanese dude is back, badass. His stage was really the best, and really gave you a sense of power. And I'm glad he's back, because I was really, really disappointed when he just killed himself in the first couple episodes. I was like, no, you were one of the best parts about this game. And I'm really interested in seeing where his story goes. A couple problems I do have with these episodes, though. Particularly, you do take control of the cultist leader, whose name's escaping me. I did play this a few days ago now, so I'm a little fuzzy on it. But you take control of her in a very poorly thought-out puzzle section, which is not bad for the most part, because most of the game puts you with no or little weapons. But you get to this point where you have to do like a sliding circular puzzle, and it just doesn't make any sense. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it, and there's no reference that you can use unless you just somehow memorize the symbols, which is what you're going to have to do. Granted, it's not terribly hard, but if you don't know that beforehand, you got to run all the way back to the other side of the level to try and get that symbol, and then run all the way back to wherever the hell you got to get the puzzle is. It's just a lot of work, and not really that not fun. One thing I do say though is that, speaking of Spider Shibito, episodes 5 to 8 introduce some cool variants. There was, for one, I mean, not only was there the fly thing that is not actually as scary as you think it would be, it's just really fucking weird, but they also have these Spider Shibito, which actually, for my money, really do scare the shit out of me. And they are walking about, and they have basically 4 legs and an upside-down head. It's not, again, not a terribly original design. It's very vaguely reminiscent of Silent Hill, whose creator also made this, so I suppose it's appropriate, but they're definitely scare the shit out of you. Sight-jacking them and watching them go up and through on walls, though, is just really creepy. And they make a really creepy shit noise. I mean, all of them kind of have that, like, weird voice modulator in them, but this one just make, like, a weird, like, I don't even know, like a clicking or a quacking sound. And it just doesn't make any sense. It really freaks you out. And I really got to give the game credit for this, you know. The sound effects are just really, really good. They get the job done. I know I stressed this probably too little in the first review, but I do want to make sure to get that point across. The sound is really great in this game, if nothing else. And outside of that, yeah, episodes 5 to 8, great continuation. Ended on another cliffhanger, not as huge as the ones presented within the individual episodes of 5 to 8, but definitely a lot to look forward to. I really want to see where the story goes. I hope it's not just a total open ending, because that would be very disappointing. And other than that, I just gotta say, I think there's some weird glitches in this game. There isn't that many outside of maybe a few graphical problems and whatnot. Those I have no problem with in and of themselves. But this is, in particular, the final episode has you going up or trying to evade a bunch of different spider Shibito, and the AI is just really poor for them. They have, you could literally, like, there was 3 of them in one room, and they all came at me. I had a single knife. I stabbed every single one of them to death. They basically wait one at a time while you kill them, and once you've hit one, it thankfully gets into a loop to kill them, which is great for most enemies, but it just seems stupid when I'm out in the open being tracked by them. I'm just cutting them down without a gun. When the game gives you a gun, those are the moments you should feel empowered, and I didn't feel quite as empowered as I probably should have because of this whole knife situation. Other than that, though, some pretty freaky designs. Again, they have this weird mushroom-like guy who makes noises like a baby, and again, not like threatening visually, just really weird, very disturbing in general. I think the atmosphere is really good. Oh, one really nice graphical touch. I did really enjoy going through the different stages of the day. Particularly, you get kind of like a dawn-esque situation. What's it dusk? Anyway, with this little girl stage, and that was cool. I really liked this music. One thing I do need to mention before I close out this review, though, is that there is a lot of repetition of stages here, and I don't necessarily have a problem with some repetition of stages. In fact, I actually appreciate the ability to go back in stages with completely different weather, different enemy patterns and whatnot, because honestly, it actually adds to your enjoyment of place, I think. It adds to your sense of place, and I like that kind of thing, different perspectives and all, right? But what I don't like is having to retrace over a level during the same level. I cannot tell you how many times in this 5 to 8, this game so far even, but particularly in episode 5, where you get to go to the bottom of the hospital, then you have to go to the top of the hospital, then you have to go to the bottom of the hospital, and it's just fucking repetitive, and you can really tell that they're just padding out the experience, and I don't really like that, especially considering that this is a pay-on-demand game. So, I mean, I expect a little more from the episodic content. I don't expect you to be a huge blockbuster per se, but I expect a little more creativity. Having said that, episodes 5 to 8 still definitely worth buying. Go pick them up. I'm sorry I don't have any other reviews out now, guys. I promise I'll get to those as soon as I can. I actually bought the 2-disc extended edition of a Chinese movie John Woo by Red Cliff. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically the most expensive Asian production ever made. It's a huge epic based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms novel. The general period covered by Dynasty Warriors, Kessen, if you're unfamiliar. And it looks really amazing. The extras are in the thousands. Huge $80 million budget, which is huge for an Asian production. It looks absolutely fantastic. They really stretch the money. And yeah, Dick's definitely going to get a review on that. Probably this coming weekend, but maybe early to mid next week. Otherwise, thanks for listening. Go pick up Siren Blood Curse if you like this kind of thing. Like I said before, it's not the greatest thing ever, but you get a lot of bang for your buck. The demo is shit, trust me. The first level is honestly kind of shit too. But once you get used to it and once it settles into a groove, it does find its place and looks really rewarding. Reminds me a little of Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which I'm thinking of picking up as well, but we'll see. Anyway.